Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Dr. Amreen and I'm continuing with the subject physical agents and electricity. Today I am going to continue the previous session. Previously we have studied about the ultrasound, its basic concept, the production of ultrasound, the different factors that are going to affect the ultrasound waves, the modes of ultrasound, the frequencies that are going to affect the ultrasound, and different application coupling methods we have studied. Today, what we are going to study is basically the physiological effects of ultrasound. I mean, what the physiological responses ultrasound is going to produce and how they are going to affect. So let me start this lecture from the learning objectives that will include the key features from the previous lecture that what we have studied previously. For moving towards, we will move towards the physiological effects of ultrasound. Then we move towards the precautions, contraindication, adverse effect, and the application technique of ultrasound in the next session. Coming towards the previous lecture in which we have studied about the best absorbing tissue are those tissues which have a high collagen content, like ligaments, tendons, fascias, joint capsules, scar tissue. And the further we will additionally added a point that the influence of therapeutic ultrasound is certainly pro-inflammatory rather than anti-inflammatory. So sometimes a patient comes in the inflammatory condition, but what you do is you do ultrasound. Actually, everybody's intention is to give anti-inflammatory effect, but sometimes we intentionally use inflammatory effects just to keep the phase towards the next phase and keep the process of healing moving forward. I've also studied about the acoustic streaming, the cavitation in detail. Today's topic includes the clinical application of ultrasonic therapy. That includes the different effects that I'm going to tell. Just give me a second. I'm going to on a marker for you. Okay, fine. So let's starting from the clinical feature of ultrasound. We are going to study about the soft tissue shortening, how it is going to be affected by the ultrasound therapy, then how we can control the pain, how we can use ultrasound in case of surgical skin incision, how we can get the effect of ultrasound therapy in tendons and ligament injury. Let me tell you, ultrasound has additional effects other than this. It also causes the resorption of calcium deposits. It's also going to affect in carpal tunnel syndrome. So what is carpal tunnel syndrome? Carpal tunnel syndrome, as you know, is going to result in pain, numbness, and tingling sensation in the hand and the arm. And you know, in carpal tunnel syndrome, major nerve that is going to affect is median nerve, and due to which all the weakness and incoordination of hand is going to affect. So what ultrasound has role in such condition and shortening, pain, and incisions, we are actually going to study it. And what are the possible changes that ultrasound can produce by its sonic waves? So coming towards the first indication of ultrasound therapy, that is soft tissue shortening, that how ultrasonic waves can affect a shortening or contracture area. And this shortening is usually somehow due to immobilization and inactivity or some due to the scarring tissue. And the point is why this immobilization and inactivity comes to the patient, why it happens to the patient. It may be due to some joint diseases, it might be due to osteoarthritis, it might be due to rheumatoid arthritis, due to which the pain has actually occurred and that leads towards decrease in the functional activity and the resultant function limitation. And even I have seen about the inactivity and immobilization due to the post after fracture issues in case of post fractures when the patient is going to have the cast and split. So in such cases, they are going to cause like soft tissue shortening, or they are going to refact or cause the contractures. So the now after the contractures or after the soft shortening, the joint has been going to show you restricted range of motion, and it goes to show you pain due to when it is not going to move, it is going to cause pain, and ultimately patient is going to have functional limitation. So let me tell you how we are going to use the ultrasound therapy in such a case where there is a restriction in the range of motion, where there is a pain, and where there is a function limitation, how we are going to reduce the function limitation. Usually what happens, there are different manual therapy techniques through which we can actually reduce this contraction and to reduce this soft tissue shortening. Other than that, we are going to use the heating modalities or like hot bags. Similarly, we may use the continuous mode of ultrasound therapy to heat up the tissue. Actually, when we give the heat to the tissues, what we are going to do is, for example, in case of such a contraction, what we are going to help these tissues is we are going to give them ease, we are going to increase their viscoelasticity, and we are going to give them extra like extensibility, so that in case of when you are going to perform stretching after applying hot pack, it may give you ease to do the stretching exercise, due to which there will be less risk of micro trauma or micro stretch. So what we have studied that ultrasound increases soft tissue in temperature, it increases the ease of stretching, as it is going to alter the viscoelasticity of the collagen matrix and going to alter overall the collagen extensibility. So in such a case, when ultrasonic waves basically penetrate, we've earlier studied about the penetration and absorption of the tissue. So what they do is they penetrate deep to the most of the joint capsule, the tendons, the ligaments. Since these tissues have a high ultrasound coefficient, we know these as they have a high collagen, capsule, tendons, and ligaments, so they have a high absorption coefficient. So ultrasound is considered to be an effective physical agent for heating these tissues at molecular level before doing the stretching. So it helps the patient to do better stretching as there is a decreased risk of tissue damage when you have heated those tissues earlier. So usually, according to a research, if we use deep heating, if we do deep heating with 1 megahertz frequency with a continuous mode and with the intensity 1 to 2.5 watts per centimeter, like centimeter square, you are able to give effective heat, like effects to increase the joint range of motion as compared to the superficial heating modalities like infrared. For example, if you're going to give a patient infrared radiation or even along with exercise, and you're going to give a continuous mode with 1 megahertz with 1 to 2.5 watts per centimeter scale, it has seen that this group of the patient is going to increase range of motion more effectively, especially they have observed in case of in order to improve the hip range of motion. So they have seen that this group of the patient improves more effectively as compared to the one that is going to give infrared radiation. Now coming towards the pain. Pain is a distressing feeling that is caused by some intense or damaging stimuli. It's also defined according to the International Association for the Study that pain is unpleasant sensory and emotional experience that is associated with actual or potential tissue damage or described in terms of such damage. And this is basically the picture of pain, what pain is. And the pain is the one with which patient actually comes to doctor and comes to physiotherapy. So we have to deal that pain, and ultrasonic therapy is one of the effective modality that is going to reduce the pain. So how ultrasound therapy is going to affect what is the basic physiology behind all the like effects, how it is going to bring it is very important. So let me tell you how the ultrasound therapy is going to affect the pain. It is going to affect the pain as pain is going to be controlled when you are going to apply ultrasound by altering its transmission or perception. As you are going to modify the underlying condition that is causing the pain. How you are going to modify it? It may be due to the certain like mechanisms. Like one of the mechanism is pain theory that is proposed by Malzig and Wolf, according to which if you stimulate the mechanoreceptors of that area, they are going to carry the message of this stimulation, and even the ultrasonic waves that are going to cause mechanical vibrations here, they are going to carry this message through afferent that is actually large diameter afferents towards the dorsal root of the spinal cord, and here what is going to happen, they are going to close the pain. This large diameter traffic is going to close the painful small diameter traffic, as a result of which small diameter traffic has been blocked, and this message is going to convey towards the cerebral cortex. So what we are saying that ultrasound is going to stimulate the cutaneous thermoreceptor and mechanoreceptors, to increases the soft tissue extensibility and increases the tissue temperature. It also causes a change in the nerve conduction velocity, and as a result, all these changes that is going to modulate, which is going to alter the process of inflammation. So coming towards the next indication of the ultrasound therapy, let me tell you, dermal ulcers can also be treated with ultrasound therapy. So before going towards the dermal ulcer, I will give you some researches that are going to tell you how ultrasound therapy is going to reduce the pain. So a study was conducted according to which a continuous ultrasound waves with the intensity of 0.5 to 2 watts per centimeter square with a frequency of 1.5 megahertz has been reported to be more effective than superficial heating with paraffin wax, than infrared radiation, than deep heating with short-wave diathermy for relieving the pain from soft tissue injuries when applied within the 48 hours. So this was a study that was conducted that is going to tell you the use of ultrasonic waves and when you are going to compare it with the other superficial heating waves. The patient with ultrasonic waves that has been treated with ultrasonic waves has shown that they have a less pain, less tenderness, and pressure and edema, and the restricted range of motion is also being improved. Swelling is also going to reduce as compared to other treatment that you are going to give the other patient. So ultrasonic waves is considered to be effective when it is going to compared with other like modalities. So these actually, I just added this data or these researches just to tell you that these researches and evidence is going to show that ultrasonic wave is going to reduce the pain as compared to other modalities that you are doing. So it is considered to be effective. Coming towards the dermal ulcer. What is ulcer? Ulcer is a sore on the skin or a mucous membrane by the disintegration of some tissues. That's what's going to happen. Ulcers can result complete loss of the epidermis, other proportion of the dermis, and even the subcutaneous fat. So here in such a case, what ultrasound therapy is going to do? Ultrasound accelerates the healing of the vascular and the pressure ulcers. According to a study that was conducted by Dyson and Suckling, that the addition of ultrasound treatments to conventional treatments has resulted in significant greater reduction in ulcer. So what they have observed, Dyson and Suckling has conducted a study in which they gave a conventional therapy of ulcers, that is the bandaging and ointments or medical management or other management, and but they conventionally being used for the dermal ulcer. And what they have given to the other group of patient and conventional treatment with ultrasonic waves, and they have seen that the patient that has given an additional ultrasound with the conventional therapy has resulted in significantly greater reduction in the ulcer lesion. So let me tell you how you are going to apply ultrasonic waves on such dermal ulcers. Ultrasound is going to apply it on dermal ulcers depending upon different techniques that we are going to adopt, because we can't apply ultrasonic waves directly of the ulcer as it is the open like ulcer, open wound. So how we are going to apply? We have certain like modification. Number one, we can apply dermal ulcers ultrasound by applying the transmission of the gel to the intact skin around the wound and treating only over the area that is surrounding the wound. So you can see in this picture, they are going to apply the ultrasonic waves on the skin that is around the wound, not over the wound, right? So according to this, what we use intensity, frequency, and mode in dealing the dermal ulcer is we use 20% duty cycle with an intensity of 1 watts per centimeter square. We apply intact skin around the border 3 times a week for the 4 weeks. Fine. So this is the parameters they have actually selected to deal with the dermal ulcer. Or you can also use some coupling sheets over the ulcer. Like you can see this picture, I have taken this monochromatic picture from your book, Michael H. Cameron. And sorry, the magnification of this picture is not so good. But you can see there is this one is a sheet that has been applied over the wound, and the therapist is going to apply ultrasonic waves through this sheet into the tissue. Fine. So this is one of the other way to applying the ultrasound in case of dermal ulcer. This is the third modification by which we can apply ultrasonic wave. It is by placing the ultrasonic transducer in the water, and then we are going to apply ultrasonic wave. So here in this picture, we can clearly see how we're going to use ultrasound, even the limb is immersed in water. And this basically technique is only applicable for the distal extremities. So far, different studies has been present, and they are going to indicate that pulse ultrasound may facilitate the wound healing, but still the good evidence is still lacking, and there are not so much researches that has been conducted over the dermal ulcers that gives you a clear cut like difference that how you are going to apply it. And what's the efficacy or the results of research? Moving towards another different type of ultrasound, that is non-contact kilohertz ultrasound. According to Food and Drug Association, in June 2004, this device was cleared for the use of wound healing. According to this device, you can see it is going to give you a mist, like you are going to apply it over the dermal ulcer, and the coupling media is in the form of mist that is going to deliver ultrasonic waves to the tissue. And in this, you are not going to come in directly with the tissues. You are just going to spray the ultrasonic waves through some coupling media. This is called non-contact kilohertz ultrasound. And the treatment duration for this non-contact kilohertz ultrasound depends upon the area of the wound. A wound that is smaller than 10 centimeters or 3 centimeters is going to. So if the wound is smaller than 10 centimeters square, then we can apply it for 3 minutes. If it is more than 10 centimeters square to 19 centimeters square, then we apply it for 4 minutes. And time is going to increase by 1 minute each for the 10 centimeter increase. So depending upon the size, you are going to apply according to the time duration. Now moving towards the surgical skin layers, we may also apply ultrasound over the surgical skin layers. Let me tell you how the ultrasound is going to do. Actually, the ultrasonic phase is going to accelerate the evaluation of angiogenesis. Angiogenesis is a vital component of early wound healing. And what is angiogenesis? We know angiogenesis is the development of new blood vessels at any injury site that is going to serve the recirculation and re-establishment of the circulation. That is going to limit the ischemic necrosis and going to facilitate the process of repair. The next indication for the ultrasound therapy is tendon and ligament injury. Ultrasonic waves are going to assist the healing of the tendons after the surgical incisions and repairs. To minimize the risk of aggravating conditions and to accelerate the process of recovery, we are going to use or we are going to apply these ultrasonic waves. According to research by Binder and colleagues, reported a significant enhanced delivery in the patients of lateral epicondylitis when they are treated with ultrasound as compared to treated with the sham ultrasound. Sham ultrasound, that the one that is going to give you placebo effects. And according to this research, the parameters of the ultrasound was 20% duty cycle, means 20% pulse mode. The 1 to 2 watts per centimeter scale with 1 megahertz frequency for 5 to 10 minutes. The treatment was given for 12 treatment sessions over the duration of 4 to 6 weeks. And according to this research, they have seen the result was significantly good if when ultrasound is being applied in the case of lateral epicondylitis. And in contrast to these positive findings, there were different studies that are going to show negative results according to related to this. According to Lundberg and colleagues, they reported that there is no significant difference in healing of the lateral epicondylitis. So between the ultrasound treated group and sham group. So there was a school of thought or researches that are going to support the use of ultrasound, and there is on the other hand a school of thought or a number of researches with evidence that are going to show that this has no applicable or no efficacy. The difference in the outcome between the above studies actually in these both studies may be the use of the different treatment parameters. Might be possible the one that is going to show you good effects and there is going to show you ultrasound is good. In case of the healing process, they have set a different parameter and the one that is going to do ultrasonic and they said it is not good. They have some selected different parameters. So might be possible there is somehow not collaboration of the equal parameters between both the groups. So this is the reason their results are actually varying. More recently, a 2009 review of the literature on ultrasound therapy for calcified tendinitis found evidences for clinically important improvements. So according to this data research, they have seen the clinically good effects in case of application for ultrasound. So ultimately, what's the summary of this, all these evidences or all this discussion is ultrasound is considered to be good in case of pulse in when you are going to use them in pulse mode at a low intensity during the acute phase of tendon inflammation, while the continuous mode with a higher intensity along with the stretching is good for chronic tendonitis. So in case of acute condition, you are going to select the pulse mode, and in case of chronic condition, you are going to select the continuous mode. So let me tell you about the application of ultrasound and their relationship with the resorption of the calcium deposit. It has seen that ultrasonic waves are going to facilitate the resorption of calcium deposits. So ultrasound is considered to be good in the resorption of calcium deposits. Mechanism underlying the calcified deposit resorption is not known. It's not it does not have any clear evidence that what is the role of ultrasound, how it is going to calcify these deposits. Is the latest evidence or research behind this is not present. But what has seen is when it is going to apply, it decreases the pain, it improves the function, and maybe due to the reduction of the inflammation in that area that is being reduced by the use of ultrasonic. Let me tell you about the carpal tunnel syndrome. Carpal tunnel syndrome is going to going to cause the pain and numbness and tingling sensation in the arm and hand. Basically, it is due to the compression of the major nerve, that is median nerve. So if it is left untreated, it may cause a weakness of the hand and incoordination. So what we have to do is we have to deal with this carpal tunnel syndrome. And in physiotherapy, ultrasound therapy is considered to be one of the very effective modality to do this. And the important thing when you're going to use ultrasound therapy in carpal tunnel syndrome is its mode, which mode you are going to select. Actually, due to inflammation, the nerve has been compressed. So what you have to do is you have to reduce this inflammation. For this one, the mode we are going to select is basically the pulse mode. And according to number of researches, it has been seen that the pulse mode of ultrasound shows significant improvement in carpal tunnel syndrome, while the continuous mode is not recommended due to the overheating effects. Now, before moving towards the phonophrosis, I would like to tell you about the different concepts of phonophrosis and its relationship to the endophrosis. Earlier, we have studied about endophrosis. That endophrosis is delivery of the drug through the tissues, through the skin, with the help of direct current, while the phonophrosis is the delivery of the drug through the tissues and the tissues with the help of the sound waves. Phono means sound and phrosis means through the tissues. So what is phonophrosis? It's application of ultrasound along with topical drug preparation as ultrasonic conduction medium. This concept and the phonophrosis was first reported by the report of the use of the ultrasound to enhance the drug delivery across the skin was published in 1954. This phonophrosis, the concept of phonophrosis has been used published in 1954. What it is going to do, actually it increases the permeability of the stratum corneum, that is the one of the layer in the skin, through the process of the cavitation. When we are going to see the effect of cavitation, it is also going to increase the permeability of the stratum corneum, and it may also be seen with thermal and non-thermal mechanism. So we can get the effect of phonophrosis when even we are using thermal mode, when even we are using non-thermal. What is stratum corneum? I said it is a superficial cornified layer of the skin. It acts as a protective barrier. It prevents the foreign material from entering the body through the skin. Fine. Now, what's the relationship of the drug and ultrasound? Actually, when ultrasonic waves have altered the skin permeability and skin has become porous by enlarging the skin effective pori radius, and by creating more pores on making the pores less tautous, we are going to diffuse the drug across the stratum corneum, and we are going to promote its absorption. In rehabilitation, phonophrosis is used primarily for the local review of some corticosteroids and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. When we want to give analgesics, NSAIDs, and we want to penetrate the Corticosteroids, we preferably use them. For the treatment of the tissue inflammation and in case of such tendinitis and bursitis, we locally use the extract of phonoforces. The research supports the use of ultrasound for the facilitation of the transdermal drug penetration. Now, let me tell you about some of the advantages over the oral drug administration that we are going to gain with the transcutaneous drug delivery. That this process is going to provide a high initial drug concentration to the delivery site. It avoids the gastric irritation. It avoids the fast pass metabolism by the liver. It is going to avoid the pain, the trauma, the infection risk associated with injection. It allows the delivery to larger area that is readily achieved by injection. So this was the advantages that we are going to see with the use of phonoforces. Now, what should be the treatment parameters that you are going to use? Effective, you can use with 1 megahertz and 3 megahertz, but the most effective is 3 megahertz. To optimize ultrasound absorption by the skin, pulsed 20% duty cycle, and to avoid the heating up and inflammatory condition, we may use intensity of 0.1 to 0.75 watts per centimeter and for 5 to 10 minutes. So now we are moving towards the closing point. Before the closing points, I will discuss or tell you about this few research data, the few evidence-based approaches. According to one of the research, continuous ultrasound 3 times a week for 4 weeks with 1 to 2 watts per centimeter square for 10 minutes applied to low back patients who are going to have who have recent onset of pain due to the collapsed disc and nerve root compression in the area of L4 and S2. And what has seen with the use of this like parameters of ultrasound, there is a significant relief of the pain and return towards the normal activity and return towards the normal range of motion. So this research data is going to tell you that ultrasonic waves are going to be effectively used in the patient who have low back pain, and in case of the one that in case that you have pain and you are going to compare it with the other modality, it is considered comparative. In patients of the shoulder pain, a continuous ultrasound applied at 1.5 watts per centimeter square for 3 to 5 minutes to 10 treatments over 3 weeks plan, followed by the exercise it is found that ultrasonic waves are more effective than exercises alone. A systemic review of the 2 studies on ultrasonic waves for the patient of rheumatoid arthritis that has seen that ultrasound alone used in case of the hand is going to increase the grip strength, it is going to decrease the number of the painful joints, it is going to increase the risk dorsiflexion, and going to reduce the morning stiffness. This evidence or this research is going to give you an evidence that ultrasonic can be used in case of rheumatoid arthritis where you want to improve the position of the hand. So coming towards these points that are which actually in this lecture we have studied about the useful therapeutic effects of ultrasound. We studied about the details of phonoforces. So let me allow to take a pause and close this session and wind up this session. And inshallah, in the next session, I'm going to continue from the contraindication, the precaution, the device effects, and mainly the application technique, means what techniques you are going to adopt when you are going to apply ultrasonic waves. Because the application technique are very important to know how actually you are going to apply, and when you are going to come across in the field and in professional life, how you are going to deal, and in case when you're going on rotations, you must know what is ultrasound, how it is going to apply, and what are the basic procedures to apply. So with this, I'm going to end up this session. If you have any questions and any issue or queries, you may ask in the next interactive session, or you may post your questions in the Google Classroom. I'm winding up this session. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next session. Till then, Allah.